It's unbelievable. What is going on?
I will say 98% of responses have been really positive, but man, you get that 2% and you're just like, just wild, wild stuff over a weather forecast.
Okay, welcome back to the Business of Betting podcast. I am your host, in-game senior analyst Jeff Edelstein. I am joined today by Kevin Roth. Kevin is a meteorologist. He is the founder of his own site now, Overcast. In addition to that, I mean, not only are you telling me like what the wind's doing in Wrigley, but you're also keeping people in Houston in tune with the weather. We're ABC 13 as the local weatherman there. Kevin, awesome to talk to you.
Yeah, always good talking with you, working with you. You know, we've been working together for 10 years or so. And it's good to meet back up and do this.
You know, it's funny. First reached out to you. I wanted to write an article for, even before I got involved in this business. You know, I was playing DFS and I was following, your work on RotoGrinders, where I guess you got your start. We'll talk about that later. But I wanted to write a story about you for Slate Magazine. And I pitched them and they were interested. And we never got to the finish line with it. But my take from it that I really wanted, that the thing that dazzled me the most about what you do is, so in the world of DFS, daily fantasy sports, there's tons of people out there who are giving their opinion, right? I think this is a great pitching matchup for so-and-so. I think this is a great hitting matchup for so-and-so. You follow their advice, you try, you do your best, you win, you lose, you move on. You say, it might rain in Kansas City, and then it doesn't rain, and people cannot be angrier. You get so much hate. It's unbelievable. What is going on?
I don't know if that's just a weatherman thing, right? People love to hate the weatherman for whatever reason, or it's just that I was the only one doing it, right? There was 100, if not thousands of people telling you who to play. This guy's going to get home run. And if he doesn't, whatever, go listen to somebody else's advice. But I was the only one telling you whether or not it was going to storm in a certain spot. So that really put the spotlight on me. And I will say 98% of responses have been really positive. But man, you get that 2% and you're just like, you're crazy. Like death threats, people telling me, making threats on my family, just wild, wild stuff over a weather forecast.
Yeah, I mean, it's bonkers. My favorites were the ones that said that you said it was going to rain, and then you probably played all the players on the other side. You're trying to get people off the games and stuff. I mean, it's wild, like the conspiracy that comes from something as obnoxious as saying, I think this is the weather, what the weather's going to be like today.
And they're all free forecasts, by the way, right? So these are free weather forecasts. I'm literally just doing my best to help out, but people will be like, oh, you knew it was going to rain and you were fading it and you told us to play. Like, I don't even play baseball DFS. Like I have absolutely no dog in this fight other than to try to help people. But some people, they don't want to be helped, man. They just want to complain.
That's it. So tell us, how did you get involved in the gambling space with your weather forecast? Because I guess there wasn't really anyone doing it. You saw a hole. I mean, tell me what happened. How did it all got started?
Yeah, I wish I could be like, I'm a genius and I saw this, this void. But the truth is, it was a random Facebook acquaintance hit me up. I hadn't talked to this girl in 10 years. She hit me up and was like, hey, I know you're a weatherman. A friend of mine is searching for a meteorologist to do something with sports, and I think you should reach out. And I was like, well, I am a weatherman. I'm a meteorologist. I love sports. It is, the only thing I like, maybe more than weather. So I reached out, and the person that I reached out to was Cal Spears, CEO of RotoGrinders. And he kind of explained what they were looking for, someone who can initially just forecast rain for baseball. And I said, yeah, I'm in. Let's give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. And it went. And that was 13 years ago. And man, it went and it grew and it built. And now it's, a whole job, a whole industry, essentially.
It really is. And I'm pretty confident at this point that you have definitely, moved lines and, things have definitely happened, especially with the higher end. I mean, to be clear, what you're giving away for free, I guess it's on Prop Finder now, is the daily forecast. And you have wind speeds and, you have rain chances and all that stuff along with notes. And this is all free. But the Overcast is where you really drill down. And I'm guessing that you're drilling down on every potential meteorological factor.
Yeah. And really the difference is qualitative, meaning describing the forecast, versus quantitative. And maybe that's what sports bettors want. What are the actual numbers? So for free every day, I'm still going to tell you where it's going to rain. I'll tell you where the winds are blowing out. I'll tell you where the hitting is good or poor. But what I was able to build was in Overcast, taking all of the data from the past 15 years, all of the weather data, all of the game data, temperature, dew point, winds, and figuring out how much exactly has that mattered in past weather games and how can we apply that to the forecasted weather that we're going to see this game. So not just knowing, oh, it's good hitting weather, but knowing it's a 16% increase to home runs compared to this park. It's a 22% increase to home runs compared to MLB average. That's what sharp sports bettors want, and that's what I'm trying to provide.
Now, I know you were with RotoGrinders for a while, and we'll definitely talk about that. And I saw you posted something on Twitter. You just launched, and you're already up to over 500 subscribers. I think that was, as of mid-April. Are you surprised that you still kind of have a little bit of a monopoly over this?
Yes and no. I am a little bit surprised. I had no idea how it was going to go, right? I was like, I might get 50 subs and just be like, well, this was a complete waste of time. I really didn't know. Really thrilled with how well it's turned out. But I have been doing it 13 years. I've essentially been the only one. But what I'm seeing now more and more, and this is what we'll all notice over the next few months, is everybody now has their own AI model out. So as I look at my feed, I'm seeing more and more people who have built just the AI weather model, home run index. And those are great and those are useful, but they are different from having the raw data that I have. And I think that's the difference. But for the average person, I'm not sure they know the difference. And so maybe that's how I get watered down as people who are not meteorologists, just building, a weather model based on AI. Then I become less of a individual in the space. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Are there times that you're still surprised sometimes with what the data spits out?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think that's what's so fun about it, really. Sometimes I know that it's going to be great hitting weather, and I look at it, and it's 10 times better than I could have fathomed, right? I'm like, oh, I can't believe the impact here. And then you watch the game, and it plays out. The people are hitting pop flies, it's getting carried. And then it's just as fun to see the opposite, where in my head, okay, well, winds are blowing out in Minnesota at 20 miles per hour. That's huge. But it's 45 degrees and that's cold. And these are these conflicting data points. And in my head, I'm like, all right, well, that's probably neutral, right? Winds are blowing out, but the weather's cold. And then you look at the statistics and it's a 35% decrease to home runs. That's the kind of data that makes me excited for what I have. And that makes me be like, oh, this is really cool. I didn't know that. And I'm still learning and seeing those examples.
I'm not going to lie to you, man. I played the DFS baseball. You are stop one for me. In the morning, I want to see what games am I scratching off the list and what games am I, I got to play this game. The rest of my research for the day gets definitely colored by your forecast, which is why when I saw that over at RotoGrinders and Better Collective, places that employed both of us at one time, when they said after all these years, we're going to let you go, I was like, I think immediately, oh man, sorry to hear, ... Where can I find your weather? I felt like, where am I going to get my weather, And obviously the industry has changed dramatically over the years. But I mean, did you see it coming? I mean, I know, RotoGrinders said there'd been a little bit of a bloodletting over the years. Were you surprised or how did that hit you?
I would say I knew it was eventually coming. I didn't know when, but as you mentioned, so RotoGrinders for the first 7-8 years I was with them was just RotoGrinders, right? It was that individual company. And then it got sold to Better Collective, this huge sports betting conglomerate, global, massive company. And at that point, RotoGrinders became just 1% of their portfolio, right? It's a tiny little cog in this much bigger system. And every 6 months, there were mass layoffs. I mean, you're dodging layoffs left and right at that company. So I knew it was a matter of time until it came my way. And the dread that I had built up in my head and just the weight of that, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get fired was a lot. It was really stressful. And yet it was a good enough situation where I didn't feel comfortable leaving it and going out on my own. And getting fired, as bizarre as this sounds, took that weight off of me because now I didn't have to worry about getting fired. It happened. I don't have to worry about should I go out on my own. I have to. It really forced my hand, and hopefully I'll end up in a better spot than where I was. And I think I'm off to a pretty good start at that.
Yeah, for sure. In addition, you cover weather for any sport that's going outside, and occasionally when the roofs break, I guess at NBA games, you might pop in. Baseball, obviously, massive, differences when the weather hits. Golf, I'm sure, equally massive, I would imagine.
Yeah, golf is really fun because it's the only sport where people are on the field, on the pitch, on the course at different times, right? So every other sport, everybody's essentially playing in the same elements. Whereas golf, you get a morning golfer and the winds are 5 miles per hour. Then you get a cold front coming through. And by the afternoon, it's 25 miles per hour. So golf has huge weather implications because people see different weather throughout the course of the day.
Baseball, you created like this, advanced model, I guess, whatever you want to call it. You haven't, at least while you were at RotoGrinders, that wasn't the case with golf and football. I'll throw an idea out there. I'd love to see, in 22-degree weather, there are rushing yards per attempt go up, 0.3 or, with something along those lines. Is that something that's like you might be interested in down the pipe?
Almost definitely. Yes. Definitely something that I want to get done. I do think baseball is the perfect weather storm, right? It's so great for data. There's 162 games for starters, which is just, you have such a huge sample size to pick from. And it's so clean. It's just batter, standing there, pitcher, and they just run it, run hundreds of iterations of that every game. Whereas football, there's a lot more variables. There's a lot more noise. I think it's harder to get as clean of a weather signal as what I have for baseball. But you and I both know winds matter, rain matters, snow matters, cold matters in football as well. So I do plan to build it out, and I hope that it goes as well as the baseball one.
While at RotoGrinders, you also ended up doing more than just the weather.
I became a host.
Was that a surprise, or something you wanted to do, or I guess what I'm trying to gauge is what was your interest level in sports and gambling to the point where you end up hosting shows on RotoGrinders?
That was a bit of a surprise. Now, obviously I've got the TV background, so being on air is not an issue for me, but I don't have that deep gambling and DFS knowledge that the other, hosts and experts did. And so they had me on in a host role where I wasn't giving advice, but it started off, it was just a fun way. Like the guys at RotoGrinders, those are some of my really good friends. Like I love chopping it up with them, talking with them. And it just became kind of a fun part of my day that I really enjoyed doing. And then the deeper that went and the longer it went on, and I had kids, and it became this 5 to 6 p.m. time frame when I'm like, I want to be hanging with my kids, Once that ended, and I now see how freeing it is to have that important time of day back to me, I have little to no interest in doing it again. I'll say that. I enjoyed it, but I'm good.
Yeah, I do want to say, I want to thank you publicly. My wife runs a nonprofit here where I am in New Jersey. And twice a year, she has this massive outdoor arts and music festival.
And the weather's always an issue.
No matter what, 200 vendors, 15 bands, tons of food trucks. And every year it's like, oh my God, it's Thursday. We're 48 hours out. And invariably, there's a 50% chance of rain every single time. And I can't thank you enough how many times I've reached out to you. And so now, instead of getting that pinpoint, weather forecast for Wrigley Field, you give it to me for Lawrence, New Jersey. And I just can't thank you enough. We go by it. I mean, you've made the decision on more than one occasion.
Well, hopefully they've worked out all right. I don't need you being in the 2% we talked about earlier, threatening me. But no, I love what I do. I love forecasting. It's like a little superpower, right? It's not all that special, but I've got a little something that I can help people out with. I had someone hit me up on Twitter earlier, made me feel old as hell, actually. They said, Kevin, I've been following Kevin for years. I grew up listening to his forecasts and would ask him for golf forecasts with my buddies. And I went back through my DMs, and sure enough, this guy 12 years ago had hit me up a few times asking for golf forecasts. And I'm always happy to help out wherever I can.
Listen, you want to hear this story? This is an old story. This one pains me every time I bring it up. But, I was a newspaper columnist, at the Trentonian newspaper since 1999, right? And so maybe 10 years ago, I'm still working there, and I'm at the supermarket. And this young woman, she had like a baby, maybe a 1 or 2 year old. And she noticed me, and our eyes connected for a minute. And I'm like, well, I'm an old man, so it's nice, it's always nice to sit. And she recognized me from the newspaper and said, oh, I've been reading you since I was a little girl. I'm like, oh man.
That's how I felt. I was like, man, I don't know if this is a compliment or if this is a little painful. Yeah, that's how it felt. But
I'm getting to the point where I think I'm gonna start telling people I'm 75 so they can tell me how good I look.
Yeah, you got to flip the script a little. But it's fun to already have been in an industry long enough where people are talking about the decade plus of work that I've put into it. Because it doesn't feel like that to me. I don't feel like a staple of the industry, but to some I am. And I hope I can keep doing it for another 2 decades.
You are a staple. I mean, listen, just the other night, Yankee Stadium, wind's blowing out, nice humidity. I'm like, all right, I'm stacking some Angels up. And the first inning, 3 home runs, like boom, boom, boom. I'm like, would I have landed there otherwise? Maybe, maybe not. But like that push from you right from the jump, as I said, you're a staple of my, I felt horrible when you got fired, but I felt worse for me.
Yeah, no, it's really fun to still be doing it and to still feel appreciated, right? Because even if I wasn't appreciated by my company, at the end, I always felt appreciated by the people. And that's what really matters. And that's why I'm still doing what I'm doing.
Tell me a little bit about weatherman life. So were you always like interested in weather, or were you interested in TV? Like, which comes first, the chicken or the egg there?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Most people are just like, why did you want to be a weatherman? But there is that difference, right? Was I a weather nerd or was I like a TV weatherman? And I think the truth is, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a TV weatherman. Like that was my dream job. And you get a little older and people ask you what you want to do. I'm like, yeah, I still want to be a weatherman. And my high school buddies were giving me crap about it. But I just went to college. I did it. My family was like, if that's really what you want to do, all right. And I just stuck with it. And once I started getting deeper into the science of it and the weather, then I fell in love with weather. But I think it started off, I wanted to be a TV weatherman. And I love that gig, man. It's a fun one.
How long have you been doing it now? Like the TV?
At least 15 years, if not a little longer than that.
I've been in radio and television myself. It is a nasty business. Like, it is like you're one new boss away from, the whole world collapsing on you. But I mean, I guess once you're in the business, it's a huge help. Now you're in Houston, you're at ABC 13, correct? We're going to get some weather in Houston. You get some hurricanes, I'm sure, things along those lines. Does part of you want to be one day like in a New Jersey setting where like now you got snow to deal with and like just more to do maybe?
No, I think Houston's active enough, right? We do get our severe weather for sure, the hurricane season. And I loathe snow forecasting. It is my least favorite thing in the world because getting a little into the weeds, but if you miss on a rain forecast, nobody really knows the difference, right? If the totals are off a little bit, but snow is literally 10 times as much volume as the liquid. So your misses are amplified 10 times with snow. And that's why you see these snow forecasts where people say it's going to be 6 inches and it ends up 3 feet or 0 inch, right? It just amplifies your misses. And then it sits there on the ground and it makes you look at the miss, right? It's there on the ground and you can't escape it. Snow is really hard to forecast for. And I just tip of the cap to everybody in the Northeast and the Midwest who has to deal with that on a, near daily basis.
You brought up AI earlier as it comes to like modeling and stuff. I'm guessing that like AI is probably helpful, like for if you actually know what you're doing.
Yeah. As far as forecast modeling, there are new AI versions of some of the classic tools that we use, the European model, the GFS. There's new AI versions of these. And in certain scenarios, they are outperforming some of the other models. Some of the hurricane forecasts, the AI hurricane forecasts are outperforming some of the tried and true methods that we've been doing for decades and decades and decades. AI is a wonderful thing in so many ways and a terrible thing in so many others, but it's helping make forecasting more accurate. And that's the end goal.
Do you foresee a world where weather forecasting actually gets solved?
No. Solved probably isn't the right word, but solved to a pretty good degree. One of the things I love about just weather forecasting in general is how much better it gets. And people will still give you the old line about like, wish I could get paid to be wrong 50% of the time. Like I hear that every day. But the truth is, when they started saying it 50, 60 years ago, they were probably right. Like we really weren't very good at it. But now our 7-day forecasts are as good as 2 and 3 day forecasts were just a few decades ago. And that will keep getting better and better. And that's kind of exciting to see what comes next.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, and it just dawned on me now, I mean, it's obvious once you think about it, but like, 100 years ago, it could be 70 degrees and sunny one day and you're dead the next day from weather and you'd have no idea that it was coming. No clue.
Not to bring in a real life example, but the Galveston hurricane of 1900, the day prior to it, everybody was talking about what a beautiful beach day it was. Let's all go down to Galveston. And nobody knew that there was a hurricane right offshore, killed thousands of people. That was before satellite. That was before radar, right? And now just the advances in our computational abilities to solve the world as a physics problem, and to know that that little blob over Russia is going to be a rainmaker in the United States 2 weeks from now is stuff that even 10 years ago we couldn't have done. And now we can do it.
Yeah, the idea of not knowing what the weather's going to be like tomorrow is like such a foreign concept.
Right? Yeah. And now it's, people get mad sometimes because they're like, you said 60% chance of rain and it didn't rain in my house. I was like, well, first off, there was a 40% chance of that happening. And second, I said that 7 days ago and it was right. You should be amazed at how good that is, that we could be that close 7 days out. Like, I think it's a miracle how good weather forecasts are. And people always focus on the negative. Rubs me the wrong way.
Were you involved at all in gambling? Did you enjoy gambling, like, sports betting or DFS before you got started working with RotoGrinders?
No, never. I had never gambled, sports bet, other than a random trip to Vegas, $5 on a craps table or something. But no, I was not involved, and I am more involved now, but I'm still just very, very low stakes. I think I put in, and people don't believe me when I said this, I got so much flack on X. I put in $150 into my DraftKings account 10, 12 years ago, and I still have that same amount, right? I'm betting like $1 a day, and I still have sometimes it's worked down to like $30. Sometimes it's worked up to $250 or $300, but I'm still just going off my initial, few bucks because I'm not a volume player and I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's all it is. You brought up the 60% chance of rain, but there was a 40% chance it's not going to rain. It's interesting how it's a real overlap on the Venn diagram between weather forecasting and player forecasting and betting forecasting. Whereas I'm thinking, holy shit, I've seen a lot of 1% chances happen. You know what I'm saying? And so being a gambler, being a weatherman, you understand that when Hillary Clinton had an 80% chance to win in 2016, that doesn't mean that she's a lock. That means there's a 20% chance she's not going to win. That's lost on so many people, 90% of people.
I think that's lost especially on people outside of the sports betting realm, right? That's actually a place where I feel, like you mentioned, sports bettors understand that they are more forgiving of that 80% chance it's fine, 20% it goes bad. They're more forgiving of that 20% hitting because they've played poker, they've bet, they've done these things, they understand the odds. Whereas a TV forecast, the general public, they don't have that same understanding. 80% means it better freaking rain, and it better rain most of the day. Otherwise, you're just flat out wrong. And I give most sports bettors a lot of credit for being able to understand that distinction.
All right. Take us behind the scenes of a place that very few of us ever get to see. Give us the day in the life at a network, television weatherman. Give us the down low. What happens?
It ain't pretty. I'll start the night before, right? So I'm a morning meteorologist. I do weekend mornings. About 6 o'clock, I tell my kids good night. They tuck me into bed at 6 p.m. because dad has got to be awake at 1 a.m, right? So try to get to bed by 6 or 7 o'clock. Oftentimes it is before my kids go to bed. Alarm goes off at 1. It's truly terrible. I cannot, people are like, oh, you've been doing it for 15 years and you're used to it. No, it's truly, truly miserable when that alarm goes off. Get in. There's no makeup person, right? There's no wardrobe. If you're on a national network in New York City, you probably have, you have makeup and wardrobe, but not local news in Houston. Get in. There's nobody to make the forecast for you. There's nobody to build the graphics for you. All of those little things, 90% of the job happens off air, right? Making the forecast, building the graphics, figuring out the weather story in my head, trying to make myself look somewhat presentable when I've slept 4.5 hours and I'm just, dead tired. And then you get to the fun part. It's like an NFL player who practices 6 days a week. And then Sundays, they're like, that one I do for free, right? Sunday is the fun day. You get out and play. Well, for me, the time on air, I just have so much fun. It's a morning show. It's light. It's a good time. And I just have a blast just hanging out, making jokes, being kind of a goofball, unless there's, serious weather. I love it. And every day is a new day where I don't have to worry about what happened yesterday. You just get in, have a good time, make people smile, make people laugh, and get out. And it's such a fun job, Jeff.
I've been a writer and a reporter for my whole career. And while I enjoy digging into a meaty story every now and again, I also prefer, rewrite this press release. And I'm like, all right, I can do that. That's, piece of cake. So generally speaking, do you want like 82 and sunny, or do you want batten down the hatches? Like, what gives you more pleasure, I guess, at your job?
It is undoubtedly, I am with you. I want 73 degrees and sunshine and light. I want when the camera comes to me, sometimes I do like a Tiger Woods fist bump when it's really nice. Like celebrate the nice weather. I do prefer, and this is maybe where that comes into play a little bit, some changing weather in the future. Because if you're in San Diego and it's just 72 and sunny for the next 10 days, I don't know how the hell you do it, right? I don't know how you can be that creative and fun for the 50 hits that I have throughout the morning. So I want beautiful weather for the next couple of days that I can talk about and celebrate, but then also give me something a little interesting, a cold front moving through, storm chances, in the future so that it can still be interesting and fun.
I also know that you enjoy leaving the country, doing some traveling around the world. So do I. And honestly, I think given like the opportunity, if I woke up tomorrow and they said, all right, you're rich and you don't have to work again, once my kids were grown and out of the house, I think I would just sell the house and not have a home. I think I would just travel and travel more. Like, that's it. That's all I like to do. Where have you been? Where's your favorite? Where do you want to go? What's on the bucket list?
I'll start with the most recent thing, which is I was actually supposed to be in Turkey 1 week from today. And I just had to cancel that just because of some of the turmoil in the Middle East. And I travel with my kids now. So it adds a whole nother, like, would I do this solo? Probably. Would I bring my kids into that environment? Or like, yeah, not really sure what's popping off. No. So I just had to cancel a trip that I was really looking forward to Istanbul. But I've gotten the opportunity to be in some awesome places. The Amazon. I took my wife on her honeymoon to the Amazon. She hated me. She was like, she got a staph infection. It did not go as planned, but I had a wonderful time. Egypt was great. A lot of Europe, Japan, Thailand, Portugal. It's just getting out there and getting to see the culture. That's what's it for me, man. The food and the people. I want to get in it. I don't want to go to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I want to be in the culture. I want to be with the people. I want to eat the local foods. That to me is just like the highest level of what I want to do at any point in my life. Like, that is living, getting to see how other people live and getting to enjoy what makes other cultures so awesome.
Thailand, I've been to a bunch of times, and that place, it gets under your skin a little bit. I remember somebody asked me when I first came back, they're like, what was it like? I'm like, well, this was, 20 odd years ago. I said, you're on Earth, there's other humans around. I go, that's pretty much where the similarities end,
There's just infinite fun. The food is incredible. Everything is cheap. The people are so incredibly kind. And if you can get that matchup of good food and good people, like you have in Thailand, it's tough to beat that.
Yeah, it is tough to beat that. I remember I love Thailand, and we were there, I think 4 different times. And it got to the point where we were adventurous. We would land without a plan and just kind of like go where the wind blew us. And I went from like being like a little like nervous about, it's so much street food. Like, that's the whole culture is like eating out. I went from being nervous to not being nervous at all to eating anything that I could get my hands on, which ended with what looked to be and might have been blood soup of some stripe. I didn't really like it, and I tried it. It was during there were there's dogs everywhere. I figured I'll give it to one of the dogs. The dogs turned their nose up at it. I'm like, well, this is not going to end well, and it didn't. I ended up in the hospital the next day with some stomach upset, and this is the best part. I checked. This is up in Chiang Mai, northern Thailand, right? I check into the hospital. They see me. I'm seen by nurses. I'm seen by doctors. The tests are run. Medicine is administered. I'm in and out of there in 2 hours. I'm on my feet in 3 hours, and it cost $17.
Yes.
And that's not a hyperbole. But,
right.
That was the bill.
Yeah, that would have been thousands of dollars and 2-night overstay in the U.S.
There's got to be a happy medium somewhere, but yeah, I love getting out there. And yeah, and how old are your kids now?
4 and 5. I got 2 girls, 4 and 5. Good age. Maybe not to do Thailand yet, right? But done some European trips with them and just trying to open their eyes a little bit. And eventually we can get a little more adventurous with them as well.
Yeah, we've been dragging our kids around everywhere that we can get them to. One place that we've been a lot recently is Costa Rica, which is like you get the new, different culture, different food. Plus you get the, for the kids, you get the beach and all this stuff. And, so, we've been enjoying that. And we did Disney last year, which I got to recommend. I don't know if you've done it with your girls yet, but I'd wait another 2 or 3 years where they could remember it so that you have the experience. And they're so good at what they do there. They really are.
Oh, Disney's wonderful. We did some of the Disney cruises because there's one that leaves out of Galveston. I'm in Houston. So Disney cruise, kids loved it. It was wonderful. But man, the Disney, like actual Disney is crazy expensive. It is like you can go to Europe or you can go to Disney. Like, it's not that far off, but it is, they do it great. They do a wonderful job in it.
They're so good at what they do. So yeah, I do. I mean, and plus, the last thing you want is when your girls are 25 sitting on a psychiatrist couch and they never even took us to Disney.
Right. You got to check that box, man. Yeah.
You got to do it. All right. I want to go back to baseball for a second. Is there anything new under the sun that's coming out, like baseball wise, when it comes to like, mapping all this?
Yeah. I've got a couple things on the way. One of the cool things about being my own business owner, I suppose now, is that I can constantly make these improvements. And when I was with other companies, trying to get anything changed, had to go through 3 different layers and expense reports and ratios. And now it's just like, I want to do this. I'm going to do this. And the first thing up, and it's coming this week, is bringing in roof data, retractable roof data. I've never had that before because it's hard to find the past data, right? Was the roof open or closed on this date? But I'm incorporating all of that. So we'll know when the roof is open at, Miller or any of these parks, how is that going to impact things? So I'm excited about that. And I'm also, while I do kind of push back on the AI made up parameters to some degree, I do want to have a home run score. So just a snapshot, 1 to 100, what is the home run ranking in this? That way people can just look at a slate, see, all right, this is a 92 here, it's a 27 here, and they could just really quickly, one metric, one number, kind of get an idea for how good the ball carries there. So I'm working on that as well.
Do you know, or what do you think people use it most? Is it mostly DFS, you think, or do you think it's gone more into sports betting, or it's a little bit of everything?
It's going more and more into sports betting. And that's maybe something I wish I had leaned into a little earlier. But my primary job was still DFS while I was at RotoGrinders. But if you look at my Twitter, it used to be 99% DFS and 1% sports betting. And when I say used to, I mean 2-3 years ago, not that long ago, right? And now, at least the people who are active and interacting with my things, 90% sports betting. It's really, that turn has happened. It's not just coming, it's here.
All right, Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. My wife's next event is on May 2nd, so you'll be hearing from me.
Fingers crossed we finally get good weather once, please.
Listen, man, real pleasure speaking with you again. Continued success, and let's keep the wind blowing out.
Thank you. Well said. Always good talking with you. Always good working with you. And hit me up early May and I'll have a forecast for you.